Hey, I'm Chris from Focusrite Novation, and I'm here with the guys down at Colchester for a first look at the brand new Novation Bass Station synth. The Bass Station is a reissue of the original Bass Station, which is now 20 years old. The original was initially manufactured in 1993, and this is our latest offering, the Bassstation II. Bassstation II is a monophonic analogue synthesizer, and as such we have two oscillators with a sub-oscillator, which are sound generators. We have a couple of filters in the actual unit as well. We have a classic filter, which is modelled on the original Bassstation filter, and we've also added a new acid filter, which will give us some nice squelchy acid house sort of bass lines, that sort of thing. The Bassstation is perfect for generating bass lines, for lead lines as well, and with the very powerful Arpeggiator section in the Bassstation synth, we can also use it for some really powerful sequencing and arpeggiated lines as well. The great thing about the Bassstation is its sound. Because it's an analog synth, it sounds absolutely fantastic. The whole signal path is based around analog circuitry, so we have analog oscillators, filters and effects, but the benefit of building a synthesizer in today's times is that we can actually leverage digital control over those analog circuits. This means that with the Bassstation we have things such as the save button, and we can save and store our presets in the actual synth and recall them at any time. The Bassstation, in fact, will come with 64 presets, but there'll also be a further 64 empty slots for you to be able to store and populate the synth with your own sounds as well. You could also, if you wanted to, you could remove the presets, and so that would give you a total of 128 slots for storing your sounds. On the Bassstation itself, we have a number of controls on the top panel. This means that we've got pretty much a control for every parameter in the synth, so it makes it really easy to get hands-on to the synth and create sounds really quickly and creatively as well. And again, because it's analog, an analog generating oscillators and filters and such, it sounds fantastic. So on the top panel here we have a number of controls. This is our oscillator section, and this gives us things over control over things such as our coarse pitch control, such as and that allows us to tune up the oscillators. We also have a fine pitch control to let us just sort of detune the oscillators ever so slightly, so we get a nice chorusy, thick sort of sound when we're working. We also have a number of different modulations that we can apply to the pitch, such as LFO. And we also can apply envelope to the pitch as well, so we can shape the sound using a modulation envelope. Alongside that, we have 4 different waveforms: sine wave, triangle, sawtooth and square wave. And on the square wave we also have pulse width. We can manually set that. We can use an LFO to modulate that as well. And again, we can use a modulation envelope to actually shape the pulse width. So alongside the oscillators we also have our little mixer section here, and this is where we can actually use the different oscillators to blend in the sound. So here we have just a single sawtooth sound. If we bring in oscillator 2, and then I switch over to oscillator 2 on the controls here, I can now actually tune the 2 oscillators and actually so the mixer is a really key area on the actual synth itself and allows us to really blend in the different sounds. Alongside the 2 oscillators we have a sub-oscillator which is tracking to oscillator 1. So this is effectively going to be either an octave or 2 octaves below oscillator 1. Let's bring some of that in. And again, we can choose different waveforms for the sub-oscillator. We have a fixed pulse width and also a square wave as well. So just using the oscillators we're getting a nice really rich thick sound. Alongside the oscillators we have a couple of other different things that we can blend in as well, including noise. So we have a white noise generator, and we also have ring modulation between oscillators 1 and 2. So again, using all of these generators we can get some really nice deep sounds out of the Bassstation. The final switch position for this particular switch here turns this into an external input control, and that allows me to feed any signal I want through the bass station and then effectively through the filters and through the effects section. This is brilliant for putting things like drum samples, that sort of thing, guitars or vocals perhaps through the unit. That brings me on to the filter section, and this filter section here, as I mentioned earlier, is we've got two different filter types. We have the classic filter, which is modelled on the Bassstation, and this is what we call a variable state filter, in the fact that we can have it set to low pass, band pass or high pass, and that gives us again different types of sounds with the filtering. If we switch over to the acid filter, then as I say, this turns it into a different filter circuit, and this is actually a diode ladder filter, and it's designed to give us more kind of squelchy bass lines sort of thing. So it's perfect for that sort of acid house sort of sound and that sort of stuff. Underneath the filters, we also have two controls in our effects section, one of which is distortion, and we can get some really nice gritty sounds out of this, so I'm just going to quickly just dial in a sound. So again, using the distortion, we can really flesh out the sound that we're working with. Alongside the distortion, we also have this control labelled Oscillator Filter Modulation, and this is going to take Oscillator 2 and use that as actually as a control for the filter. This gives us a nice sort of FM sort of style of sound. So let's just get something in here with this. So the two effects sections there give us again a whole load of different flavours that we can work with on the Bassstation. Next to the effects section, I also have an envelope section as well, and this gives me access to an amplifier envelope or amplitude envelope, which allows me to shape the overall volume of the sound coming out of the oscillators and the filter. And then I have also my modulation envelope, which, as I say, can be used to control a number of different things, such as the filter, the pulse width modulation, and the pitch of the oscillator as well. Next to the envelope section, we've got LFOs, and we have two distinct LFOs. LFO1 is dedicated to the pitch on the oscillator, and LFO2 again can be used to modulate different things such as the pulse width and also the filter frequency cutoff. On the LFOs, we have different waveforms, including things such as, let's get something dialed in. So this is. So this is a triangle waveform, but we also have sawtooth, square, and sample and hold. The LFOs themselves run really, really fast. And again, we can use all of the controls on the top panel here to get some really nice, exciting sounds out of the Bassstation. One of the really key features on the Bassstation is the Arpeggiator, and alongside your standard arpeggiation mode such as up and down and that sort of thing, we also have as well a played mode, and this is really useful because it'll follow the order of the keys that I play in, so I can get some really nice kind of sequences going just from playing notes in on the keyboard. mode is really useful to just get something quickly into the bass station. You can then free up your hands to get on the controls on the top panel there and play around with the sounds. Alongside the played mode, we also include 4 slots, independent slots for step sequences that we can program directly into the synth. And again, this is a really nice, neat feature because it allows me to just play something in that isn't necessarily just an arpeggiator. So I can maybe just type in a quick sample, such as let's get the sound up, go to record, and then just... Okay, so just a random sort of sequence there of 16 steps, go up to play mode, turn it on, and now... And I can also record into another slot as well. So if I just move this to a different slot position here, go back to record, and then just quickly again put something in. Okay, and then go back to play. So we have the first sequence here. And then I can move into the second sequence easily enough by just switching up. So just directly on the arpeggiator section, we've got a whole load of control for the bass station itself. So that's the top panel, that's all of the controls that we've got. All of the encoders on the top panel here control their own distinct parameter. All of the control panel, all of the controls on the top as well are also sending out CC message. So you could use this as a little controller keyboard alongside your DAW software as well. Whilst talking about DAW software, I should note that it is USB bus powered, but we do include a power supply with the bass station. And also we have obviously our arpeggiator section here, and that's running to a clock, so we have a tempo control here. But if we actually send clock to the bass station via our DAW or DAW software, it will latch onto that and automatically sync into your software as well. This is really useful for doing things like syncing LFOs and that sort of thing, so that we can keep everything nicely in time and musical whilst we're using the bass station with our software. So along the top, the controls on the top panel, we also have a number of controls based around the keyboard as well. This is to give us extra functionality, and this is to do things, for example, like to turn on the LFO syncs, for example. So if I press a function key and then press the LFO speed sync button, I can then choose to turn that into sync mode rather than free running speed mode. Alongside that, we also have other controls. For example, we can assign various different things to the modulation wheel here to control, again, the sound. We can also use things like aftertouch as well to again further control the sound. So if I just turn on aftertouch and put it onto the filter, so I'll put in a bit of an amount on there. So again, you know, we've a number of different functions that are available to us across the keyboard there as well. So the bass station is incredibly well built. It's a nice solid plastic unit with a great design on the underneath as well. I've gone for a really nice kind of blue there, which is very reminiscent of the older original bass station. But the whole point to this is really it's a load of fun to work with. It sounds fantastic. You can easily grab hold of all of the parameters that you need to, and yeah, and it's a fantastic little unit for creating music with. So there we have it, Bassstation II, Novation's brand new analogue monophonic synth. And if you'd like some more details or would like to come and have a look at one, contact the guys here at Total Music Get in the Mix. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Cheers.